Hello guys, today we are gonna need to solve both two questions, which is represented by the number 4.9 and number 4.10. And so these questions is related to the calculation of the sum of a sequence of integers and average a sequence of integers by using the C programming language. Okay, and so firstly, we need to create a new project in here. And so as you remind that we need to select the C++ program and empty projects in here. We need to push the next button in here. And so we have the 5-week example in here. Yes. The project name is the week 5 and with the same name of the place solution and project in the same directory. And so it means that the project name and the solution name is the same. And we need to choose the location of our project. And so we need to push the browse button in here. And then we need to select this week 5 section. And so in your computer, and then you can select a different path. And don't worry about that. But you need to only notice that you need to create a specific path or the correct path in order to get the full function of your algorithm in C programming language. Okay, and so I choose the week 5 in here, and so we can create a program in here like this one. As you can imagine that we have the specific solution explorer in here, the output section in here, and then we have the command line or the editor programs. Okay, and so we can create a specific source file in here like this one. The CPP file can be added in here, but in our study week 5 or the main function main.c should be written in here because our language is a C programming, not a C++ programming, and so the extension is a directive effect of the which compiler is used in these codes. Okay, and so we can add these programs in here like this one, and so we can simply test our program is okay or not in here. Int main should be added as a starting address of this programming language, and so the printf, the hello guys, can be added in here. And so in order to run this program, Ctrl F5 button should be used, and so the hello guys is opening in the debug console, and so the program is okay. And so what about our question? And so the question asked write a program that sums a sequence of integers. Okay, and so we need to create some variables to be stored some specific integer value in our programming language, and so we need to sum, or we need to calculate the summation of this sequence of integers. And so the next condition is that assume that the first integer read with scanf specifies the number of values, which means that we should give the program the specific number of values to be entered our program. For example, if we are push the 4 value in this program, and so the first integer should be kept in 4 value, or the value of the number of 4 should be kept in the integer value. Which integer? The first integer in here. And so your program should read only one value each time scanf, and so we cannot use the array structure in here, and so we need to create another variable in here to keep all the values at each one time. Okay, and so we can continue with the writing a program in here. And so firstly, we should describe these things. The include is a precompiler command in C programming language, and so we can add some specific library to our programming language, which means that if we use the sharp include standard input output.h file, which is the header file, and so we can use some specific function which is included in the standard input output.h stdio h library. Okay, and so in the second place we should create a main function body in here. As you remind that the main function is a starting address in our RAM, which means that this gives us a specific address location in order to run or work these codes in our CPU. Okay, and so main is the address of the program start in RAM block. Okay, and so what about our question? In our question, we need to store the counts of the number, and we need to store the total sum value by using two integer values. Okay, and so integer count of numbers should be given in here because the program needs the count of number variable in order to store the how many numbers are utilized in our programs. And so we need to give some specific total sum function in here with the initialization value of 0 because we need to sum our numbers which is given by the users. Okay, and so in our approach we need to iterable variable, because if we have, for example, if we have 5 numbers to be summed in our program, this value should goes to 5. But in another case, for example, it equals to 3 or 5 or 7, which is determined by the user input. Okay, and so additionally we should cap the given number, which is the internal number, by using this some specific variable in here. Okay, and so in the first place we should give a warning to the user by using this phrase, the please specify how many numbers are to be summed. Okay, and so if we are using these codes and then if we are running our program in here, Control F5 should be in here, and so the debug console gives us an warning, please specify how many numbers are to be summed. Okay, and so we need to use the scanf function in here, a secure scanf function. And so our variable in here with the type of integer, and so %d is indicating to what the integer value, and so we can use the count of numbers in here but with the specific address block on the RAM. Okay, count of numbers. And so if we are using these codes, and then we can store how many numbers are to be summed or which number is used in our code. For example, 3 numbers or 5 numbers or 7 numbers in here. And then how can we sum these whole numbers by using the internal numbers variable? Firstly, we need to create a while loop in here, because we need to give the count of numbers, and so we need to create a loop in order to sum total number by using the internal numbers variable in here, and then at each iteration we can increase the total sum number by using these loops. Okay. But what about the R condition? Our condition is that I is initialized by 0 value in here is smaller than what? The count of numbers. Okay. And so this loop continues until what? This statement is false. Okay. And so at each iteration we should ask the user to what? The please give a number in order to be kept in what? The percentage D should be given in here, and so the each values is included or is kept into internal numbers blocks in here. Okay. And so at each iteration this internal numbers is changed, and so we need to create some specific code to calculate the summation of these internal numbers, because at each iteration internal numbers are changed. Okay. And so the total sum should be increased by what? The total sum plus internal numbers. Okay. And so what about this? At each iteration the total sum should be initialized as the equal to the 0, and then at each iteration the total sum is increased with the value of the internal numbers. And so in the next iteration internal numbers is changed, and so the total sum is always the same with this variable, because total sum is increased with by using these coding techniques. Okay. But for each iteration we should increase the while loop iteration control variable, which means that it's equal to I, and so I should be increased at each iteration. And then if we have the total number of these variables, so we can print out this number with the warning of the sum of numbers are what? Percentage D new line should be added in here, and so we need to give the total sum value at this point. Okay. And so this is the total R code in here in order to calculate the summation of the numbers, which is specified by the users at both the reading value and so the count value should be given to the program by the users. Okay. And so if I run this program by pushing the Control plus F5 in here, the please specify how many numbers are to be summed, and so I choose the 3 number in here, and so please give a number at this moment, and so I can give the 5 in here, and so in the second place, in the second iteration, the please give a number is in here, and so Scanf waits until the user inputs. Okay. And so in the second place we can give the 10 in here, and so please give a number in here, we can give the 15 as a input. Okay. And so the sum of numbers are what is, and so this is the sum of numbers are the 30 value. Okay. And so we can calculate the following formula by using these techniques. And so if we rerun this program and then the 5 number is given in here, 1 1 1 1 1, and so the sum of numbers is equal to 5. And so you can use the sum, this technique, 3 value should be summed in here, and so 54, 12 and 31. Okay, and so the sum of numbers is 97. And so the important point of using this program is that we cannot use, or we don't need to use the array structure in here, because the internal numbers at each iteration is changed. But we cannot store every number in our codes, because the internal number is equal to at the last point, internal numbers are equal to what? The 5 value in here, and so 4, 11, 9, 50 and 50. And so the internal number at the last stage is equal to the 15, but the sum of number is correct. And so the internal number can store one variable at each time. And so the 34, 11, 9, 50 and 15 is lost in our program. Only we can store the last value, the inputted by the user in here. And so if we try to improve our coding techniques in here, we need to utilize the array structure or array structure values in our coding techniques. And so the array notation can be given in here, but you don't need to use now because you don't need to learn in here. And so in the next lesson we should proceed the algorithm to calculate the whole array structure or array notation in order to using the one solution name or one variable. Okay, and so this is the first example session in our algorithm in here. Okay, x1 should be given using by these coding techniques. And so in the second place we should follow, or we should proceed with the what? The average as sequence of integers must be done in our example session. And so the question is that write a program that calculates and prints the average of several integers, which means that we should give the program some integers and then we should calculate the average value of these integers. The important point of this algorithm is that the integers may have a float point or dot point in the language. For example, if you use the two variables in here, such as the 5, 6, 7, and the sum of these values are equal to what? The 18. But it can be, or it may be a 19 or 20 or 22 value. And so if we are divided to the 20 divided by the 3 value, and so we don't obtain any integer value but a double or float value. And so we need to notice, or we need to check this condition in here, because if we have whole variables are stored in integer type, and so we don't obtain the correct form of the average value notation in our programming techniques. Okay, and so I will give some example of this error, and I can show to you how to repair or how to fix your code by using these techniques. Okay, and so we are going to start to implement our algorithm in here. And so we need to use the printf and scanf function in here, and so we need to include the stdio.h library in here. And so we need to create a main function blocks or main body with a return value of 0 should be included in here. And then what? Firstly, we should create again a total sum value in order to calculate the average of these things, because in maths the average is equal to the summation of these things divided by the count of the numbers, which is given to or given by the user in here. Okay, and so we need to create a counter value which is started by the 0 value or initialized by the 0 value in the first place. Okay, and so in order to check the number or cap the number of these things, because the number check should be created in here, because our program is ended by giving the 9999 value to the program, because assume that the last value read with scanf is the sentinel, and so this is the ending point of our programming. And in our program we need to read the whole the values from given the by using the user's inputs. And so if we have the 9999 value in here, and so the program is ended, and then this program should calculate the average value with the printing of this number on the debug console section. Okay, and so we need to create some specific average number, which is the type of the integer. This is important because this is a false results. This gives us a false results. Okay, and so we need to fix this type of number in here. Okay, and so we need to create again a loop variable by using the while syntax in here with the parentheses. And so what about our condition in here? Our condition is that the number check is not equal to 9999. And so if the user gives us a variable of these things which is kept in the number check, and so the while is ended. Okay, and so we need to ask the user to what? The printf the give a number in here, and so we should cap this scanfs, or we should store this number with the specific variable which is the number check variable in our program. Okay, and so the type of this number check is the integer, and we need to write a %d as a reminder or as a specific notation in C programming language. And so we need to give the address operator or ampersand operator in here with the variable of what the number check. And so the address of number check is filled by the specific number which is provided by the users. Okay, and so in each iteration the total sum should be increased with the value of the number check. Okay, because we need to calculate the total sum value, and so if we have the total sum value, and so if we have the counter value, and then we're gonna find the average value of these numbers. Okay, and so the counter should be increased in each iteration with the operator of the plus plus increment operator. Okay, and so if we have these numbers in here, and then what we should give the average value of these numbers to the user, and so the average of numbers is equal to the integer value, and so the percentage d should be given to the program with the variable of the average of numbers in here. Okay, but how can we calculate the average of numbers? Average of numbers is equal to the average of numbers is equal to the total sum divided by the counter value in here. This is also false result, but we need to fix this problem in our algorithm. Okay, and so if we test this program, we should push the control F5 button in here, give a number in here. Okay, and so the 4 can be given in here, 5 can be given in here, 6 can be given in here. If we want to end this while loop, we should give the number check to the 9999 value. Okay, and so if we push the enter button or CTRL button in here, and then the loop is ended. And so in our program, the average value of these numbers is 2503, and so it's false, because the average number of these things, the total sum of these things, is equal to the 15, and so 15 divided by 3 is equal to the 5, and so 5 is not equal to the 2503 value. And so how can we fix this problem in here? Firstly, the total sum is included to this value, because scanf stores the number check with a variable of these things, because the user gives to the 999, and so the total sum is updated with the what? The total sum plus 999 value. And so in order to obtain the correct value of these things, and so the total sum must be subtracted by the 9999 value. Okay, because the total sum should be equal to the what? The previous variable or previous inputs plus the 9999. Okay, and so we can print also these things in here, which means that the total sum is equal to what? The percentage d new line can be given in here. Total sum is equal to in here. Okay, but we should write it down as the counter value in here, or the number of values which are given by the user. Okay, and so we can write it down as the counter. Okay, and so if we restart this program and then give a number is a warning to the user, and so 3 4 5 in here, and so 9999 is a sentinel, and so the loop is ended in here, but the total sum is equal to what? 10,011, and so we can subtract the 999, and so the total sum is in the correct form now. But the average value of these numbers is equal to the 3, and so 3 4 5 plus plus is equal to the what? The total sum is in the form of the 12th value. And so we can give the 3 number in here, and so the correct value of the average value should be equal to the 4, but is equal to the 3. And so the counter number of values is equal to the 4. Okay. And so we should subtract a 1 value, which is the representation of this value, and so the counter also must be corrected by using these terms. Okay. And so if we give some numbers in here, the 5, 6, 7 in here, and so 999 is equal to the what? The average value of these numbers is equal to the 6. Okay. And so if we are trying to new numbers in here, 3, 4 and 1, and so the total number of these things is equal to the 8, and then the 9999 should be given in here, and so the 3 number is evaluated in here, but the average value of these numbers is equal to the 2, but in the correct form the 8 divided by 3 must be equal to what? 3.666. What's wrong our program in here? In our program, the false value comes with us with the type of these values, because the integer value only contains the integer values, not a floating point or double point, and so we need to replace this type with the double values. Okay. And so the double values gives us a floating point in our numbers, and so we need to update this diagram, because the average value or average of numbers is the type of double, and so this D value should be replaced with the LF value in here. And so if we rerun this program, and then 3, 4, 7 is equal to what? The 7, the 999 should be given in here, and then what? The 3, 4 is a 2 numbers is given from the user, and so the counter value is corrected, but the average value of these numbers is still a 3, which is wrong, because 3.5 is the correct value of these things. And so what about our problem in here? The total sum is in the type of the integer value, and the counter which is in the type of the integer value in here. And so this function or this operation gives us an integer value, but the average of numbers is a double, and so we need to improve our algorithm by using the casting operation in here. Now with the double casting should be added in here. Okay. And so what about the casting operation? If we rerun this program, and then 3 plus 4, 999 can be given in here, and then the correct value of these things, average value of these in numbers is equal to the 3.5. And so still we have in conclusion the correct value of these codes. Okay, but we can use this casting operation in our algorithm, because the integer should be converted into the double, and so we can obtain the floating number by using this operation. Okay. And then we can use this syntax like this one. The counter is in here, and so counter as well as the can be casted into the double value. Okay. And 3, 4, 999 can be given in here 3.5. Okay. And so we can use the 3, 4, 1, which is the total number of these things is equal to the 8, and so 999 should be given in here, and so we have the 2.6666 points in here, which is the correct with respect to the math operations. Okay, and so this is the example 2 session, but the main code blocks in here with the type of the double value. And so additionally, I can show you how can we cast the type in C programming language. Integer main should be given in here with a return value of 0. And so what about this? Integer a is equal to the 5, and so if we can assign this a value is the 6.4, and so we can write it down as the a is equal to the what? The a value is given in here. And then if we rerun this program, and then a is equal to the 6, but we give to the program is a 6.4 value because it's in the form of the double notation in here, because the right hand value can be selected in the different type of the C programming language, okay, in the variable notation. And so how can we correct this form in here? This form can be corrected by using the open and close a parenthesis in here with the type of the integer value. And so if we rerun this program, and then we can also have the a6, okay, but if we turn the values of these things like this one, integer b is equal to the 0, okay, or the double result value is equal to the what is equal to the 0.0 in here, okay. And so the result value can be represented by these things, b or a divided by b operation in here, okay. And so the a is equal to the 5, b is equal to the 2, and so the result of this division operation needs to be equal to what? To 2.5. But in the normal condition, we should tell the compiler which is the specific value of the integer division by the integer, okay. And so if we rerun this program, and then result is equal to the 2.0 in here, but if we are using this syntax, open and close parentheses in here, and so we can write it down as a double value in here, and so the integer value instantly converted into the double value, which is named by the casting operation in C programming language. And so if we rerun this program, and then we can obtain the correct value of these things, 2.5, okay. And so what about this? The double is used to convert this total sum value instantly to type conversion. Comes with the integer to double value, and so counter is as well as in the type of integer, and so we need to cast this counter value by using the double operation in here, okay. This is the additional topic in our lesson, and so this is the nth example or the last example in our example session. I hope you learn about what I taught in lesson, and so if you are using or if you have any question related to these codes, and then you can send a mail with the İşcan@yildiz.edu.tr, okay. So